Hey, what's going on, everybody? Well, welcome to another edition of the Movie Phantasm's Horror Review. And yes, we are going to continue the Phantasm series, if you will. Tonight, we got Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead, and Phantasm Oblivion. Or I guess Phantasm 4 Oblivion. You know, like the IV is like standing out. It's still part of the word Oblivion, so I'm just going to call it Phantasm Oblivion. Either way, Joker, buddy, I'm finishing it up for you. So tonight, on tonight's agenda, we got Phantasm 3 and 4. And before I get started, you know what? It's not even horror movie related at all. Just saw The Dark Knight Rises. Dude, there's going to be a lot of haters out there, but I'll tell you right now, this is a fucking epic movie, alright? An epic end to an epic trilogy. It's all I'm going to say. Fucking brilliant. Check it out. Don't even, right now, just stop what you're doing. Don't just turn it off. Turn off the computer. Go to your local theater. Watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Alright, so let's get into it, shall we? Now, last week I asked the question of the week. It was the top 3 your favorite top 3 horror series. And got some replies. Boom. Joker hit me up. He said his number 3 was Wishmaster. Nightmare on Elm Street was number 2. And then number 1 was Phantasm. We were on that. Love the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I mean, you guys probably seen my video I did on, you know, the entire series, ranking them. And Wishmaster, I only seen the first one. And maybe the second one. It was a long time ago. Those are like late night HBO movies. And you're just waiting to flip over to Cinemax because you know there's going to be some titties over there. So you're just waiting. That's you know, it's the thing there. 13th Wolfman hit me up. He said The Living Dead series was his number 3. And totally agree with that. I'm not going to lie, I got to, because the first 3 are just epic. 4th one's really good. But then when you get to Diary of the Dead, I ain't going to lie, I backed out. I jumped out. I do plan on watching Survival, and I think I could be wrong, I'm not for sure. I think there may be another one after that. So I just didn't pursue it. Like after Diary, I was like, yep, I'm out. I'm done. Sorry, Romero. I'll catch you later. So, but yeah, then he said his number 2 is the Blind Dead series. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar with the Blind Dead series, so I'll have to look into that. And then his number 1 was the old school Universal Frankenstein series. And I actually got the box set of that, and I've been tearing that up. I actually do enjoy that. I think that is one of the better horror series out there. And then finally, Gorshack 13 hit me up with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Huge fan of that. The Descent. I didn't know they did any more past 2. But I didn't really look into it. So but I loved the first one. Thought it was great. And then he's around. He's just like, you know what? F your top 3 rules. We're going to go ahead and throw Evil Dead in there anyways. That was his number 1, Evil Dead. So even though it's a trilogy, it's a horror trilogy, not a series, but you know, whatever. I'm just grateful I got people, you know, watching my shows, so it's all good. Alright, so that's the top 3, you know, right there, the answers. Now this week's question, I figure since we're still on the Phantasm series, and the tall man is an sorry, getting tongue-tied here, an iconic, you know, horror villain, and we just did the summer horror movie, Summer Showdown. I knew I was going to plug that. Anyways, we did, you know, that whole thing. So the question this week is top 3 horror villains. What are your top 3 favorite horror villains? You know what? I'm gonna lie, Tall Man is great. If I had top 5, he'd probably be up there. However, my top 3, Pennywise is number 3. Even though he turns into a ridiculous fucking spider at the end, dude, that dude scared the shit out of me when I was little. Number 2, Jack Torrance, Shining. And that's enough said. Like I shouldn't even have to be able to give like, you know, explanations for this. That's just boom, bar none, boom. And then number 1, let's face it, the king, Michael Myers. I mean, you ain't getting no better than that. So boom, there it is. So yes, please, you want to do the top 3? You know, there's multiple ways to hit me up. You know, video responses. All my Phantom friends over on Facebook, boom, hit me up there. The comment right down below. Or you can hit me up by email, moviephantom7@gmail.com. So yeah, multiple ways to hit me up. Boom. So what do you say we get some news, alright? Now, just read, now there's a movie coming out, I believe it's in September. I'm not for sure. September, October, it's fall. It's coming out in the fall. I'm probably way off. Probably will come off in like August or some shit. Anyways, it's called The Possession, and Sam Raimi's producing it. Even though like whenever you see like trailers or like Sam Raimi, you know, like he's directing or some shit, but he's just producing it. Anyways, the writers from The Possession, and I don't know who these guys are. Like I didn't recognize them at all. But anyways, they're gonna be writing the next Ouija movie. Like yes, they're gonna make a movie about the Ouija board again. And so yeah. So I guess, you know, we'll check out Possession. If it, you know, pretty good, might give us hope for Ouija. So yeah, and then I saw this thing. It's not even news related. Like I'm stuffing it in here. Like I'm trying to pad this out. Saw this funny ass fucking picture on Facebook, and it had like these zombies like chasing these people, and then like atop of it is like, you know, the title of this thing was a zombie's worst fear. And so there's zombies are chasing these people, but then like underneath it, it said necrophiliacs, and then of course, you know, people are now chasing the zombies. And I'm like, you know, I want to see the movie they do that. Like literally, I'm not counting Dead Girl either, by the way. I mean, because she wouldn't have been running, she would have been tearing them up. But I want to see a movie where like, literally like zombies are chasing people, and then the guy's like, you know what, fuck this, turns around, and then they're like, oh shit, and the zombies just start backing up, and I ain't gotta be funny, but that's just me. That's just me. Saw a trailer. I guess it's been out on Sci-Fi Channel, but it's gonna get its DVD/Blu-ray release. The Jersey Shore Shark Attack. It's what you'd expect from a sci-fi original movie. You know, it's weird though. Like all the underwater sequences, the sharks look pretty good. Like there's actual real sharks and stuff. I'm sure the actors were nowhere near it. It's probably like stock footage from like, you know, 10 years ago. But either way, it looked pretty good. But then like, you know, we get the sharks jumping out of water. Hey, this looks ridiculously horrible. It has Joey Fatone in there. Like they was like really hyping that up. There's like, oh, with Joey Fatone. Joey Fatone's in our movie. I'm like, really? And then you see him get killed. It's like, there's spoiler alert. If you've seen the trailer, got killed. But you know, whatever. So yeah, that's that. And then speaking of trailers I watched, I saw the A Lesson in Evil. The new, I know his name's probably like Takashi Miike. I say Takashi Miike. I'm going to be like that ignorant American who's just going to like, yeah, I feel like it looks like Mike. I'm going to say Mike. So, yeah, A Lesson in Evil, new movie from Takashi Miike. And you know what? Dude, it looks awesome. Like, it's a teaser. And the site I went to, like, didn't have the subtitles at all. So, like, I'm just watching it, and I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on, but I'm like, fuck it. Because it's a Takashi Miike movie. And, yeah, I read the summary later on. I guess it's like a school teacher who just like flips out one day and then, you know, start taking down the students. So yeah, I'm in. I'm down. And then finally, I went to a horrormovie.cal. I didn't even know .cals existed. Yeah, .ca. Ka. That's what it is. It's not Cal. Cal would have an L in there. Ka. So horrormovies.com had their top 10 worst horror villains of all time. And then they had them listed, they didn't have them numbered. And then when I'm writing them down so I can, you know, produce it to you guys, I count 11. So, yeah. Intelligent people over there, I'm not bashing them. I've been checking their stuff out. I go everywhere. I go to a lot of different websites. But anyways, yes, here are their top 11 worst horror villains, I guess, of all time. Number 11, they had Jack Frost. I'm going to just assume they was counting from, like, down, so if it's reversed, you know, horrormovies.com, you know, hey, sue me. Number 11, Jack Frost. I can see that. I saw part of it. I just remember, wasn't Shannon Elizabeth in that one? Like, in the shower? Nude? I'm there. And then I think that, you know, the plot started kicking in, and I think it's like, it's soon next time. I was like, number 9, The Creeper, from the Jeepers Creepers series. You know, I wouldn't say he's the worst one. I mean, I don't know, I enjoyed him. I mean, yeah, well, you know, I'll probably, you know, start, you know, doing a review on the Creepers, you know, Jeepers Creepers series, you know, sometime. So we'll save my rant about the Creepers till then. But number 8, Martin, from the Human Centipede 2, and I haven't seen that yet, but I saw a picture of him, and I'm like, yeah. Unless he's like got ether and chloroform taking you down, it shouldn't be much of a struggle. Okay, number 7. I've never seen this movie, heard this movie at all, but the villain they listed was called The Stuff from the movie. Wait for it. The Stuff. So yeah, apparently it's about like I guess he's like an ice cream monster. Like his face looks like ice cream, And the whole movie's like just like this whole, it's like a metaphor, or, what word am I looking for here? Fuck it. It's kind of late. But basically, yeah, it's like, it's about consumerism, all stuff, but instead of there being like a really good twist or anything like that at the end, or how, it's the society and the establishment, fucking us over. It's an ice cream dude. So yeah, that was that. Okay. I think I said number 7. Like I said, I wrote this down 10 through 0, and then I was like, it's 11. But anyway, up next they had the ass worm. That's how they listed. They literally listed the ass worms from Dreamcatcher. And I would have just been like a slug-looking thing, but these guys were just pretty evil. They were pretty pissed about it. Once again, I'm like, worst villains, really? These guys? I like that movie. It's an uneven type of movie. I'll grant you that, but dude, those things weren't the worst. Like, if anything, that big alien, it just has like the, I don't know, like the one like the ass worm like curls behind and shit and comes up on his shoulder. That guy, I think he'd be worse than the ass worms. Dude, the ass worms were vicious as shit. They had like teeth and everything. Ah, fuck that. Number 5, another movie I have not seen. I'm not even ashamed I haven't seen half these. I ain't gonna lie. Like, these are movies I'm just like, I could probably miss. The Ginger Dead Man. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that one. From the movie, The Ginger Dead Man. And speaking of a movie with the villain named after the movie, I guess, was The Dentist. From The Dentist. I'm sure he had a real name in the movie. They just listed it as The Dentist from The Dentist. That's another movie I've seen bits of. I think I've seen the second one, and that was another one of those late night horror movies that just didn't catch my attention. And I was just like, you know what, like Bikini Car Wash is coming on, and then I just went over because around 11:30, that's when you can switch over. Up next, I guess we're at 4 now. The Hand from Idle Hands. Yeah, seen parts of that when I was in junior high when that came out, and I thought just never got around to it. Like I don't think it was a bad movie. Like parts I saw I liked, but for some reason I just didn't get finished at all. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. Now here I'll start agreeing with them from here on out. At number 3 it was The Killer Tomatoes from Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I've never seen it, but yeah, I just feel like, tie like that. But at least it's like intentionally bad. Like I don't think they were like being serious. Like, well, listen, we're gonna have some killer tomatoes in this next one. Then number 2 they had The Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Love the movie. I can see where people are just like, worst villains, whatever. And then last they had I guess The Trees and Plants from The Happening, or The Virus and Air, or what the fuck it was from The Happening. And yeah, I guess. So yeah, there was top 10 worst. That was like probably the worst segment I've ever done. How about that? The worst segment. Thank you, horrormovies.com. Anyway, so yeah, just got done watching right now. Before I hit the little video thing here, hit record here, I just finished up watching Intruders. Rented it. It started off pretty good, and I'm not gonna lie, there's a twist or a revelation or whatever you want to call it at the end. You can kind of see it coming like a mile away, like really like right off the beginning. I'm just kind of like, I bet that's what's going to happen. I didn't quite know the reason, but I knew something similar to it. It's not bad. I don't know. It gets all family-ish at the end. I mean, no, I know, like, most people are probably sick of this, like those last second coming out, scares at the end, or the open endings. And this one, I guess it's kind of a spoiler alert, but it's got a happy ending. But I don't know. It's like this like music playing in the background, and I was just like, I'm done. But yeah, it wasn't too bad starting out. I mean, it had really good direction and atmosphere, and the music was pretty good, and the acting was top notch. I'm just saying, like, story wise, that midway through, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm checking my watch. I'm like, ready for this to be over. So let me rearrange some stuff here. Okay, so we've got some viewer comments. Evil Begets Evil, he totally agreed with my views on Phantasm 2, and I want to say right now, I agree with him agreeing on my views. So yes, that's how I'm going to answer that one. My boy Joker, last week I said that, once again, this is kind of the ignorant American in me, but I was just like, he sounds British, so obviously he's British. And it turns out he's Irish, so Joker, my man, I'm sorry about that. Yes, but he is Irish, so yeah. And then Horror Show 3000, he commented, I submitted a video for his contest he's having. And he was just like, oh, you got the DVD, the Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, and he's like, can't find that. I found mine at half.com, like half.com. It's like a sub company of eBay or something like that. But yeah, they got pretty good deals there too. And I can't remember exactly because usually when I buy DVDs I kind of buy them like in a bulk. And I don't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but it wasn't much. It couldn't have been much. So yeah, half.com, check it out. That's me plugging half.com. They sponsor the show now. But yeah, so let's get to some reviews, shall we? Now, we're going to travel to 1994. Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. Yeah, basically you got Mike, Jody, and Reggie still on their adventures trying to take down the Tall Man. Now, last week I didn't really give much of a reason except for the fact that I didn't really go in depth on why the Phantasm series was my favorite series. And I think it's just because, and I knew this before. It wasn't like I'm just like, oh, now I'm pondering. No, I'm just, you get the show going. You leave shit out a lot. I mean, I do anyways. But the reason why Phantasm is my favorite series is because it is a saga. It's a journey with these characters. It's not like a Friday 13th where basically you're just following Jason. You're not following the kids, except for like those middle ones with Tommy Jarvis, 4 through 6. But other than that, it's just like new batch of kids, they get killed off. And don't get me wrong, I love those movies. Like, I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan. Nightmare on Elm Street, stuff like that. But I like my series to actually be a series, not just a new episode. No, this is actually it's a collective. It's a saga. So yeah, I mean that's the reason I definitely dig these. So I watched this, and it's always been one of my favorite movies. Period. Like, I think whenever I always thought about part 2 for some reason. I always try to downplay 2, and I'm like, no, 2 is really a good movie too. But I watched this, I'm like, I'm still saying this is my number 2 in the series because I don't know. Once again, like I said, I said last week, I like movies where when I was a kid, where you can identify with the kid character. You had Tim in this one, the little boy that tags along for the group. I liked him. It was literally like he was like a deranged Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. I mean, this kid booby-trapped the shit out of his house. And it wasn't just like goofy slapstick. I mean, he fucked you up with hatchets and razor blade frisbees, and he'd gun you down in a hole. I mean, this is, But, it's just like, I dug that, What also I liked about this one, and once again, everybody was like, a lot of reviews I've been reading recently, they're just like, oh, brought him back, and that was the greatest thing. And I'm like, Michael Baldwin, or I'm sorry, Michael Baldwin, he did good in this. I just don't think he had a lot to do. Like, this is not a big Mike movie. It's more Reggie. Like, Reggie kind of takes center stage here. Like, in part 1, he's a sidekick. Part 2, he's kind of like, he's up there. It's almost like their team thing. But, still Mike's the main guy. But in this movie, it seems like, really, Mike kind of comes down, and then Reggie, takes center stage and becomes kind of the hero of the movie. And really, I mean, for the most part, Mike's for the most movie he's kidnapped and taken away, and you got this ragtag team going on. And so I love movies like that. Like, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but the one thing that I found appealing about that was it was like this weird assortment of characters teaming up. Like, you had this big fucking monkey-looking dude. Like, I know he's a Wookiee, but when I'm a kid, I wasn't a big geek on Star Wars. So I'm just like, it's like a giant gorilla, some robots, like this one guy who has like telekinesis, and then like an old man who has telekinesis, and then you got like this, fucking Indiana Jones with him. That's a ragtag team, and there's a chick with him, So I'm just like, that's a ragtag. I love ragtag teams. I was gonna say it right now. And this one's like the the raggiest team of them all. You got like you got this badass chick, who's like, this militant. I'm guessing she's probably a lesbian. I'm not going to throw it out there that, for a fact she definitely, they never really said one way or another. I mean, how can you resist Reggie's charm, right? No, but, but she's badass with the nunchucks, man. You can see she, definitely has some military background, stuff like that. Of course, Reggie, our man's back. You got the kid, Tim, who is almost like, Mike from the first one. And then you even got Jody in ball form. I don't call them sentinels. I call them balls. Like, fuck it. I'm not going to pander to, like, in the script. No, fuck it. They're balls. Yeah, and it got this, these 4. And, of course, they're looking for Mike, and then they get him back. So it's just like, it is, like I said, a new little team there. Yes, I mean, what else? I mean, really, highly recommend it. I don't really know what else to say about this. I mean, it is a damn good one. Actually, I mean, if you're one of those that nitpick about the special effects, it has really good effects. I know it's like one thing everybody was bitching about was the zombies in this one. And they're not really zombies because, I'm the old school kind of guy who's like, you know, either there's two types of zombies. There's either voodoo zombies or fucking flesh-eating Romero zombies. These are just like reanimated dead people. And everybody's just, I just remember reading a lot of reviews that are like, well, that's retarded. You know, I'm like, well, really? Like, you get the tall man who is fucking more powerful than we've ever imagined. Like, you can't kill this dude. And this is the one where we realized, like, you know, at the end of part 2, he was, you know, had the shit blown out of his face, and dude, like, the ass is eating him up, and he's just laying there. And this one, that's where we see, you know, a new tall man emerge from the portal, grab the old one, and just chuck his ass back there. And you're just like, oh shit, there's like an unlimited amount of these fucking tall mans now. And I'm like, you know, a guy with that much power, he's going to have more than just dwarves and balls, alright? And, you know, these gravediggers he has. I'm like, why not have zombies? I mean, really? Like, does it matter? Are you guys really going to bitch about that? I also want people, it comes to Phantasm, I also want people just bitch like crazy. Like, I accept the flaws. Like, the one flaw that everybody was like bitching about, and I just, because it brought some humor. Like, if it wasn't for like them like, fuck it, we're going to just go ahead and alter it, we wouldn't have had a funny scene out of it. And that's the scene, okay, at the end of part 2, Reggie blows away these dwarves with his 4-barrel. And I love that gun. But then, you know, he has no more bullets, so he chucks it in the basement of this mortuary, gets in the car. Now, I grant you, that's a huge continuity gap, because, and then immediately in part 3, he has the gun back with him. And I'm like, you know, who cares, really? In the world of Phantasm, in a movie that's so convoluted and just bizarre and dreamlike, you're gonna sit there and start, you know, like, well, suck a dick, suck a fucking dick. That's what I'm gonna say to you guys right now. But the funny thing that comes out of it is he grabs that gun and he can see and hear these fucking dwarves hopping in the trees above him. It's dark, and he just says fuck it and shoots up in the air. And then, and dude, it's one of the best scenes in the fucking movie. And I'm just like, that's brilliant. That's another thing, everybody's just like, well, it seemed like the humor took over. I'm like, you know what? If you spent most of your life on the road tracking this tall dude, guess what? I'm looking for some humor, alright? Like, now maybe I'm just speaking for myself, because I'm an asshole like that, and I'll just, you know, I'll take it on this one, but, like, I'm the kind of guy who tries to make jokes at a funeral. And it's not out of disrespect, it's just how I deal with things. Like, you know, when shit gets real, like, I don't want to fucking accept real shit. I joke around. That's just what I do. I see it the same way here. I mean, you just want it to be bleak and dark for like fucking 4 movies straight? No, you want it to be, you know, a little lighthearted and stuff like that. So yeah, I was down with the humor on this one. Then of course, you know, we had the awesome twist ending here. And then, wait, before we get to the, not twist ending, but, you know, the open ending. One thing I do like about this was that, you know, Rocky Les, she's like, yeah, I love how they set it up. It's a throwback to part 2. Because in part 2, when Mike's taking a nap, he looks up and they pull up the alchemy. And it's a dream sequence. They don't pull up to her, they drive past her. But then when he wakes up, you know, alchemy's in the back seat. Well, they do that same camera movement and thing when they pull up the Rocky on the side of the road. And I thought that was kind of a cool throwback. Because the whole time I'm thinking, like, when I was a kid now, not now, I'm still watching, like, oh, I can't trust her. But, you know, when you're a kid, when the first time you watch it, you're just like, is she going to fucking, like, turn on you? Like, are they going to have, you know, she going to have, like, that big silver ball sticking out of her head and then fucking turn to the tall man? So, yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, I thought it was really good. And then, of course, it ends, you know, very bizarre. Like, I just remember when I was a kid watching it, I hated it because I'm just like, what the hell's going on? Like, Jody's, like, speaking in riddles, and he's just more or less telling, like, you know, Reggie, hey, relax, you know. And, you know, Mike just wanders off like he has the fucking ball in his head now. And you're like, why didn't they just, you know, take his brain out, crush his body? And you're like, well, shit, there's more to it here. But then that, you know, for right now, that you know, that question's not even answered. And then, of course, Rocky's just like, I'm out of here. And then she leaves. And you're left with, you know, Tim and Reggie. Of course, Reggie's pinned up at the end with all these balls, shit, holding him up. And then, of course, you know, Tim gets snatched through a window. And that's how you end that one right there. And I just remember being a kid thinking, like, Jesus Christ. And, of course, at the time, you know, the first one came out in the 70s. The second one came out in the 80s. And then this one's in the 90s. I'm like, I'm going to have to wait till fucking 2000 or so for part 4. So I was really bummed out at the end of this movie. But I loved the 3. Like, these are, the, you know, the trilogy to me. And I'll just go ahead and the spoilers for my review for part 4. Top 3 are the first 3 movies. I go 1, 3, 2, and 4. So, yeah. Highly recommend it. I mean, and that's another thing. Everybody's just like, well, they have these scenes that just don't make no sense. I'm like, well, you know what? If you've not been paying attention to Phantasm, like, shit just goes unexplained. There is one thing I noticed, and I thought it was kind of weird. And I'm not dyslexic, once again, we're in Phantasm world right now. Okay, part 1 was all a dream, per se, right? There's a scene in this one where they rescue Mike through a dream. Like, somehow Reggie falls asleep, and then in his dream he rescues Mike in real life. It's craziness, and I accept. I'm like, yes, this is the world we're in right now. But okay, so they bring him out, and Jody, with his ball power, he's holding this gate open. But the thing is, now the tall man's locked on him, and he can't shut the gate off. And he's like, Reggie, you gotta close it down. And Reggie has a memory of him shutting it down in part 1, and yet part 1 was just a dream of Mike's, and yet Reggie is having a memory of Mike's dream. Just thought that was interesting. That's it. And you know, once again, but in this world, this realm that we're in, it fits. You know, and I ain't bitching about it. So yes, Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. Fucking check it out. Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have to wait too long because just 4 years later, Phantasm Oblivion came out. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even watch it 4 years later. Like, I didn't even know it came out. Like, that's around the time, I guess, when I started getting into high school. You know, 98 was like my last year of junior high. It's around this area, or it's era that we had a big chain video store come in, and it killed almost every single mom and pop store. It was literally a sad day, you know. But anyways, it's just around there that I quit kind of going. That's when, you know, you're ready to go to high school and you're just out more. You're not quite cooped up in the house as much. So I didn't realize this even existed until around 2000, 2001. So finally watched it. I remember the first time I watched it, I hated it. The basic plot of this is just basically a continuation. You know, fucking last week scene, you know, Reggie was buried. It looked like Reggie about to get plucked with a ball, Tim gets taken through a window, and Mike's wandering around. So yeah, the first time I watched this, I hated it. I just did not like it whatsoever. Ready to take a shit all over, and I just didn't care for it. And it wasn't until years later, I want to say probably around 07 or 08, that I watched it again, liked it a little better. And then, of course, as I'm getting DVDs, I see it on sale for like $7, and I'm like, you know, why not? Let's get it. Add to the collection, and I watch it again, and I'm like, you know what? It really is a good movie. Still, even as much as I do like it now, I still won't say it's as good as the first 3. But what I do like about this one is they take it back to the roots of part 1, where it's trippier. It has this weird. It's okay, like well, first of all, like Mike, he gets in the car, he gets in a hearse, he finds a hearse. And it's almost like a personal journey for him. Like, we're on this journey with Mike as he's just trying to learn the secret of what's going on. And he's having these weird visions, and he's seeing like people in the car with him, and dwarves and tall man in the back, and the car takes over itself, and he's having these weird flashbacks. And that's one thing I love about this too is, you know, because the first, I wouldn't say, I guess it wasn't the first official cut, but like the first time, I guess the first cut, Phantasm was like 3+ hours long, so a ton of footage that he just scrapped. Well, he kept a lot of it, and he used it for this movie, and I thought that was brilliant, because, you know, he brought back some scenes, he added new scenes, and then there's a weird scene where, you know, they hang the tall man, which wouldn't really fit in the first movie anyways. Like, you try to actually put that in there, it wouldn't really make sense. So, in the realm of Phantasm, it's almost like it's taking place in Mike's mind, and he's still letting him go. It's weird, and that's what I like about it, because it is hard to explain. That's what Phantasm is. It's a series, it's a movie that's hard to explain. So, it really took it back to the roots there. I thought that was really good. And you know what? Probably my favorite ending, by far. You know, basically, at the end of this one, I'm going to jump around a lot because, once again, you know, I think you should see this. Now, this ain't like on that list of movies that you should have already seen this, but I'm like, you know, if you like 1 and 2, just finish the series up, for Christ's sake. Come on. What are you going to do better? I want to know right now. What else you got to do? No, you watch these 2. Get out of your system. Watch them. But, you know, Mike, you know, he's laid out. The fucking ball taken out of his head. Tall man takes it back to the whatever world. Reggie's like, I'm going to follow you in there. But then, like, in Mike's mind, like, what's left of it, there's a flashback scene, and it's Mike in the, as a kid, and it's all, like, filmed from part 1, but he's in the ice cream truck with Reggie. And like Mike can hear like Reggie, you know, you're gonna be okay. But then like Reggie, like 78 Reggie, hears Mike's like, I'm dying, Reg, and there's it's so bizarre. And then like whenever like Reggie's like, you know, did you hear something? Mike goes, it's just the wind, and then they drive off. And now granted, like whatever that scene was supposed to be meant for in part 1, and it was cut, it has a different context when it's in part 4 at the end of this movie. Like it's just almost like, what? Like, wouldn't you want to be like, no, Reg, there's some weird shit going on? I don't know. I do. It's crazy. So I really think, like, you know, for people who like the weirdness of Phantasm, I don't see why people are taking shit on this one. Like, this has the weird factor to it. Like, this is just fucking twisty and bizarre. You know, the cop, the zombie cop thing, I remember I didn't like him at all when I first watched it. And then once again, now that I'm like, you know, as I watch part 3, and I'm like, you know, I accepted the zombies a long time ago. And this about the cop is just kind of a weird thing, but, you know, I'm okay with it, you know. Reggie definitely stepped up the one-liners in this movie, hardcore, which I'm cool with. I was disappointed, like, you know, when I first watched it, that there was no titties in it. Because, like, the time I think I was, you know, when it's 2000, so, you know, I wasn't even 18 yet. I couldn't, you know, and I didn't have internet when I was a kid, so, I mean, you look for titties in movies. And we got titties the first 3 movies, and I'm like, yes, we're going to get some titties here. And there's a scene where they kind of tease it, like you think you're going to get some titties, and you don't, you get these fucking silver balls and shit. But, yeah, overall, I mean, it's good. It's a good addition. I really love the fact that they explore, and everybody's just like, well, what made Phantasm great was you didn't know. Well, you know what? Suck a fucking dick, alright? I like the fact that they try to go back and explain, because that's what sequels do. You know, in the first movie, sure, you can sit there and have all the mystery you want. It's okay to answer some questions. Because with this, they still leave shit open. Like, you kind of get the idea that maybe the tall man is wanting to maybe make Mike a version of him, like, kind of bring him to the dark side. You don't know for a fact. It's never said. It's kind of hinted toward, and I like that, and that's okay. But yes, I love the fact that there were, like, you know, how he goes back to the portal and he sees the tall man. And that's one of the best things, too, is where he goes back to, I don't know what the year would be, but anyways, he's at, like, the Morningside mausoleum or mansion, or, you know, the funeral home. And as he's walking around this porch, and the first time you see it, it is a suspenseful scene, because he's walking close to windows and shit, and you're almost like, no, something's going to pop on the window or whatever. And the music's brilliant. The music's been brilliant, like, all 4 of these. And as he comes around this corner, you see a pair of feet sitting down. And then the tall man leans right into frame. But, and this is Angus Scrimm's great acting. Like, anybody who's just like, well, he's not really an actor. No. This was where you see it. He's like the most kindest, gentlest old man you've ever seen. And it's a complete 180, and you're like, holy shit, I think it's a brilliant scene. I love the fact that you get, like, all these multiple portals. Like, there's this one scene where, you know, he goes out in the desert, and dude, there's like 30 of these little gateways. I'm just like, where the fuck do all of these go? Like, I want to see that, where they're like, let's check this out. So yes, damn good. Jody, and I think that's just a spoiler alert a long time ago. But you guys, you know, by now, if you're watching me and you've been watching my shit for a while, you know, like, if it's more older than 10 years, I'm gonna drop spoilers. So, yeah, and this one, you know, we learn that Jody turns against him. Like, you know, it's not really Jody, I guess. It's more the tall man's version of Jody. But, you know, it's still like, you know, in part 3, he's more lighthearted, joking around, helping him out. And then this one, you just kind of feel there's this underlying evilness to him. And then, of course, he does turn on Mike. Yeah, and this one, you know, Mike kind of comes back from being just like a side character now. I mean, he's kind of the vocal point in this one. And I think he does a lot better. I don't know, I didn't really care for Michael Baldwin's performance in part 3. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't as good as he was in part 1. Maybe he's just rusty. He's just like, oh shit, I wasn't in part 2. But this one, he really does really good in it. I definitely dig it. If I had one gripe, alright, and it's not that Rocky disappeared. Like, she said she had enough, so, you know, I'm expecting her to drive away. Like, why is she gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna come back and help? No, she's like, I'm leaving. It's Tim's disappearance. Now, these happened 4 years apart. It wasn't like we had a decade or something went by and we're like, you know, oh shit, we got Tim. I forgot about right Tim in there. This is like 4 years prior. Now, I can assume the fact that, yes, Tim is dead. Like, they yank him through and just fucking rip him apart. I'll buy that. That's not a problem. That's not what I'm complaining about. It's Reggie. Because in part 3, we had this almost like father-son bonding with Reg and Tim. And you can get the feeling that, yes, he cares about him. Like, he is a part of the group. And they shared a lot of these great moments. Like the scene where Reggie's trying to get laid. Like, he's just trying desperately to get in Rocky's pants. But he's doing like at the campfire. So like the kid's right there. And like, he don't even care. That's how much of a horn dog Reggie. He's like, you know, fuck, I'm going to get laid if I can here. And whenever she turns him down, he looks over, and then Tim's just kind of laughing at him. And, you know, it's a great scene. A lot of those. I mean, they shared a lot of moments in part 3. And there's not one moment at all where he's just kind of like, you know, Tim, my God, you know. And the fact that, like, Reggie loses his wife and daughter in part 2. And they hint to that in part 3 because, you know, Tim picks up a picture of, you know, like a family picture of him. And you can see it hurts Reggie, but then once again, he has Tim. And then, like, part 4, it's like that he didn't exist. Like, they didn't, like, I don't think they showed flashbacks of Tim at all. It was like he just did not exist. Like, he was just written. Now, once again, in the Phantasm world, I mean, I guess that could happen. Like, he just ceased to exist. I don't know. But yes, overall, though, real good movie. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's not the best. And if I had to, like, rank out, like, every horror movie I've ever seen, it would probably be in the middle there somewhere. I'm not going to deny you that. However, it's a good, you know, addition to the Phantasm series. It's a good chapter, alright? I do hate the fact that, like, this was 98. Like, I just realized that today. Like, this is 1998. God, this is 2012. I seen Reggie in a movie called Acts of Death. And he just looks so much older. I saw Angus Scrimm during an interview. This guy's like, he's about ready to kick the bucket. And here's the thing, like, I read in the interview where, like, Don Coscarelli said, like, you know, everybody's, like, wanting him to do, or not everybody, I'm talking, like, you know, studios, or want him to do a remake. And he said, like, the reason I don't want to do a remake is because, you know, I hadn't seen a script. I'm like, well, stop the fucking phone. So studios are willing to, like, shell out money for the fucking remake, but they won't give you a few fucking measly dollars for a part 5? Are you fucking kidding me? If that thing, like, studios like this, think about it, just give them the money for part 5. If you don't want to, it's like, are you guys hurting that bad? Give them, it's Universal. Universal's like the ones who, they didn't produce these, but they distributed them. Like, Universal, give them some money for part 5. Who gives a shit? Give them the money. You're not hurting. It's like your 100th anniversary. You just had Ted. Ted made some money. You're fucking good. Give them some money. Let them get part 5 done. In the can. And finish it. Finish the fucking series. And then, when part 5's done, I won't care. You can do a fucking remake that's a cartoon, and you got, like, Michael Bay producing it. And I'll be like, you know, fuck it, I don't care, because I have my series. My series is done. Phantasm 1 through 5 is complete with the original cast, and we're good to go. You can do the atrocious fucking remake after that, you know, I don't know, it has, like, Shia LaBeouf in it, and fucking Hannah Montana. You can do whatever the fuck you want. It's, you know, fuck it. I won't even care. I will literally be like, you know what? And then when, like, the time rolls around, we're doing a show, and I'll be like, well, in the news, they just, you know, fucking Dave Goulier is going to be the tall man. You know, I won't bitch about it. I'll be like, it's okay, because you know why it's okay? Because we got 5 good movies out of them. And they're the way he wanted to make them. I don't know. It just tears me up a little bit, that's all. But yes, anyways, back from my rant. Good movies, check them out. So, you know what? Joker, buddy, that was for you. There you go. And, you know what? Everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, I'll catch you next week, alright? Later.